This is episode 6 of the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy. The story takes us back to the year 434 in the Holy God calendar, when Leonis returns to the capital of Necrozoa after a battle. Riselia warmly welcomes him back, and Leonis proudly tells her that he won the battle. He presents the spoils of war to her. Riselia admires the spoils and asks him to keep them safe for her. During their conversation, Riselia mentions that Leonis has become quite the demon lord. Leonis shares that he has acquired a variety of powerful spells and made a new friend, Blackies, a royal from the Shadow Kingdom. Blackies has become involved in a troublesome feud, but Leonis offers him shelter in his shadow when needed. He learned a special spell from Blackies to do this. Riselia, in turn, expresses her desire to give Leonis a gift for his victory. She takes off the holy sword that Leonis once wielded as a hero. She explains that the holy sword no longer suits him, so she transforms it into a demon sword. This demon sword has a unique feature. It can only be drawn when a specific condition is met, and Leonis already knows what that condition is. Riselia hints that this sword will challenge Leonis's true nature. The story returns to the present, where Leonis is surprised to see Ericol again after 1,000 years. He notices that Ericol is about to create more void creatures and suspects that Ericol might be causing this commotion. In an attempt to stop Ericol, Leonis uses a fire spell, but Ericol escapes by going underground. Leonis realizes that the mark of control on his hand is still there, suggesting that Celia is still alive. He thinks that Ericol is trying to lure him out, and he's willing to play along, determined to defeat Ericol once and for all. Blackies joins them and mentions that their mortal enemy has returned. Leonis explains that Ericol has become a Void Lord and is different from what he used to be. He believes that Ericol's return may also mean that Riselia is alive somewhere out there. Blackies wonders why humans are outside the restaurant, exposing themselves to danger. Leonis notices that the people are staring at him, something he's used to because his immense power has always struck fear into people's hearts, even back when he was a human hero. Leonis advises the children to stay inside for safety. Tess thanks Leonis for protecting them, saying they are fine now, and asks him to save Celia. Leonis is touched by their lack of fear and promises to rescue Celia. He uses a powerful barrier spell, Zodama, to encase the restaurant in a protective barrier and summons some of his warriors to safeguard the children. He feels that while he has no obligation to protect these people, ignoring the safety of those near his minions would tarnish his reputation as a demon lord. Blackies then shares some food that Kua gave him, mentioning that he received it near Leonis's residence. Leonis, feeling hungry, takes some for himself. Suddenly, they hear a sound and discover one of Celia's earpieces left behind. Through it, they hear Elfine's voice, and it becomes clear that the 18th platoon is currently battling a formidable Hydra-class void and holding off other void creatures. Elfine explains her situation and urgently asks Celia to come help. Leonis informs her that Celia has been taken by the Void Lord, but he's determined to rescue her. He requests Elfine's help in locating Celia using her holy sword. Elfine, however, expresses concern, deeming it too dangerous, and suggests that the platoon responsible for the area handle the situation. Leonis disagrees, noting there's no one available, and waiting could be too late. He asks Elfine if she can use her holy sword to see the area. Elfine complies, and when she views the area, she asks Leonis if he's the one who defeated all the void creatures. Leonis assures her he'll explain later, and implores her to trust him. Elfine then uses her holy sword to locate Celia's biosignature, and discovers that Celia is in the power plant block. In the meantime, a Hydra void attempts to attack Elfine, but Sherry comes to her rescue. Sherry hides and thinks that working with Leonis is demanding but easier than working in a donut shop. The scene shifts to Leonis, who is riding on Blackies and heading towards the power plant. Blackies says he knows where it is and asks Leonis why he sent Sherry to help the humans. Leonis explains that Sherry may not be a skilled maid, but she used to be an assassin sent to kill him. She should be capable of handling the monsters. Blackies understands that, but questions why Sherry was sent when they are facing one of the 6 heroes. Leonis mentions that Elfine's holy sword abilities are valuable, and Regina is his minion's maid. Blackies finds this confusing and can't understand why Leonis cast a barrier around the humans. Leonis admits that he has developed a liking for the humans, and Blackies comments that it's very much like Leonis. They enter the power plant, and Leonis asks Ericol to return his minion. He tries to use a fire spell on Ericol, but it has no effect. Ericol remarks that he thought Leonis had perished 1,000 years ago, and Leonis clarifies that he never perished, he just sealed away his soul. Ericol mentions that the world is different now, and this world will be rebuilt along with the empty star. Leonis wonders what the empty star is, and Ericol explains that he has been chosen as the bearer of good news. He then creates some life forms on his branches, and Leonis is shocked to see that Ericles has assimilated the priests from the sacred order. While all this is happening, Celia can hear Leonis's voice through her comms device, and she realizes that he's here to rescue her. However, she can't respond to him. Ericles then attacks Leonis with his tree branches, but Leonis dodges and uses a spell to cut off Ericles' branches. Blackies notices that their magical energy is depleting rapidly, and Leonis thinks that Ericles must be draining their mana because this whole area is under his control. Ericles casts several level 8 spells at once, but Leonis evades them and attacks Ericles. Ericles defends himself with a barrier. Ericles casts the same level 8 spells again, and Leonis realizes that he currently has unlimited magical power because he's draining it from the mana crystal. He can cast multiple spells at once due to the priests he has assimilated. He tells Blackies that things are about to get chaotic. Meanwhile, Celia believes she needs to help in Leonis's fight. She tries to free herself, but her restraints are too tight, causing her to bleed. She then summons her holy sword and attempts to cut her bindings, but it doesn't work. On the other side, Leonis and Blackies work together to cast a fire spell, and Ericles counters it with his own spell. We then see Celia manifesting some blades from her own blood, using them to break free. Leonis notices where Celia is and hits her with something, causing her to manifest blood wings and escape from Ericles' grip. Ericles asks Leonis what he has done, and Leonis explains that he merely supplied his minion with some of his mana-infused blood. Leonis reunites with Celia, and he observes that she has become more skilled with her vampire powers. Ericles announces his intent to crush Leonis, and unleashes a powerful spell. Blackies realizes that Ericles plans to incinerate the entire city, including Ting, the city's ruler. Leonis is determined to defeat Ericles, and asks Celia to buy him some time. Celia uses blades made of her own blood to shield Leonis. Leonis believes he no longer needs to be cautious now that he has his minion back. He reveals that the condition for unsheathing his demon sword is protecting his kingdom. He draws the holy sword sealed within his staff and claims the 7th Assault Garden as his domain. He declares that all who reside there will become his minions, and he'll be duty-bound to protect them. He wields the demon sword named Daneslave, surprising Blackies, who is taken aback that the demon sword has recognized Leonis's decision. Ericles questions how Leonis obtained that sword and states that it's impossible to alter the world's catastrophic fate. Leonis responds by asserting that he will challenge destiny with his own hands. He uses a sword technique called Ragnalos to defeat Ericles. Meanwhile, the forces outside deal with the remaining void creatures, and those in the control room notice that new void creatures have stopped appearing. Their forces are gradually reducing the remaining void creatures. They confirm the Void Lord's disappearance, and it appears that the power plant has shut down due to a massive energy release. Feet believes that the Void Lord must have met its end when it got caught in the power plant meltdown, considering themselves lucky. Leonis and Celia return to the surface, and meet up with the rest of Platoon 18. The scene then shifts to Leonis lying on a bed. He feels sore all over after using the sword skills locked away in the demon sword. He realizes that his human body couldn't handle the stress, and he's completely drained of mana. Celia brings Leonis a sandwich, and she also gives him a medal made by the kids from the Sunny Spot house. Leonis thinks about how he claimed mankind as the subjects of his kingdom, and it's now his duty to protect anyone who pays tribute to the undead king. Celia mentions that using her holy sword consumes a lot of her blood and asks Leonis if she can drink some of his blood. Leonis agrees, and Celia takes a bit of blood from his finger. At that moment, the other girls enter the room and wonder what Celia is doing. Celia explains that she's treating Leonis's wound. Scene changes and we see the princess of the Imperial City heading to the Assault Garden in the sea. She left after hearing about the stampede. Her guard asks if they should turn back now that the stampede is over, but the princess wants to show her appreciation to the holy swordsman who defended the Assault Garden. This brings an end to our episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more anime recaps.